Howdy, y'all. How you doing? For those of you who don't know me, the name's Richard Herring, and I'm very pleased to be here, as you can imagine. If you're here on my site, writteninred.com, I'll put up a link at the end. It's really nice to have you here. If you've never heard of it, and who can blame you? You're probably on my YouTube channel. I don't know why you would be, but good for you too. It's always nice to have people looking in. Yeah. Richard Herring, also known as Richard the Red, proprietor of writteninred.com. University student, all-around slacker, I don't know. Reason I'm here, well, partly this is going to be one of these regular kind of vlog things. You get in, you say a bit, you have a bit of fun. But my main focus, and anyone who sees my site will know this, movies. I love movies, they're very dear to me, they're beautiful, they're fantastic little creations. Here's the thing I've noticed though. To write about a good movie is very easy. To write about a bad movie is difficult. But to talk about a bad movie, this is much easier. This is very easy for me. And as anyone who knows me will tell you, I like to talk a lot. So this probably won't be a short little entry. Surrounding me is my lovely little apartment. It's not really clean right now. I think that's my next order of business after I finish up with you folks. So if I show you around, it'll be when it's nice and clean. Ooh, orders of business. Yeah. When it comes to the movie reviews, I'll be doing a few little things as a regular. Some of my reviews will have swearing, some won't. If I like it, probably won't have any swearing. If I don't, I might need to resort to some extreme language. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I have a dear little sister. Hi, Ocean! She's quite young, she's very dear to me, she's a beautiful creature, and I don't really want her to hear me using foul language. So there'll be a couple of warnings that I'll throw up in these little vlogs of mine. One of them will be the spoiler alert. Very normal, but here it is anyway. That was the spoiler alert. Now, that's very common. I'll be throwing that up at the point in the review where I'm going to start getting into spoilers. I'll probably say it as well, but in case I forget, yeah, it's there. You can't say I didn't warn you. The other one will be the ocean alert. Yeah, that's for when I start swearing and cussing violently. I will be using that later in this review because the movie I decided to start with, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Other than that, I'll take it as I come along. There are things I like about movie, things I don't. My taste is quite simple, and it'll kind of emerge as we go through this process. I'm gonna have no schedule for these things, and I'm not gonna constrain myself to any set type of movie. I'll really just take what comes along. Old, new, I don't know, I don't care. You will not see a lot of fancy editing, because I don't have time for that these days. All I really have time for is sitting down in front of you for about 10 minutes, editing for about 20, and posting. This is a half-an-hour process. It's like a ready-made meal. Okay, let's get on to the movie. This Saturday, at the behest of some of my very dear friends, I went to see the remake of The Thing. For those of you who don't know, John Carpenter's The Thing, released in 1982, is a masterpiece of horror cinema. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. This is really one of the best examples of the horror genre you will ever see. It is everything that a horror movie needs to be and more. The effects are beyond belief. This is practical effects at its absolute best. Stan Winston is a god amongst men in this department. He really is. Let me think about it. The acting, fantastic. Kurt Russell does a great job. Keith Davis also, amazing work there. There's almost every main character in this, and there's about 7 of them, do a really good job. Their characters are defined, well thought out, well presented, individual, you really know what's going on. You really care when these guys start getting knocked off. And John Carpenter, this was him at the top of his game. He really puts it here, and it really shows during the monster sequences. This is a well thought out, honestly very scary horror film. It's frightening, the atmosphere is thick and palpable, it's beautiful. ocean warning. Right here. Mom, Pop, I love ya, I love her too. If you're watching this with Ocean, turn off the video now. Please. I'm assuming they're gone. Fuck this movie. I am not kidding you guys. This has got to be one of the worst movies I've ever seen on cinema. I've seen a lot of terrible movies. I've seen a lot of shit in my time. You know what? There's a lot of bad movies I like, even the ones that are really terrible. I would rather watch an Uwe Boll film than watch this movie again, for a very simple reason. On its own, looked on its own merits, this is a terrible movie. It really is. It is no understanding of tension, plot, atmosphere, character, effects, or how to make a horror movie. It really doesn't. You know what? I've seen worse. But, and it's a big but, when you compare it to the original, this is sacrilege. I am not kidding. This is just awful. I can't even start to tell you. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to start to tell you. Let's go through it. What's bad about this movie? I had some warning going in. I actually had more warning than the others I went to go see it with. And to be honest, we all took this one hard. This was rough. This was not a pleasant watching. For a couple of reasons. Number one, we all loved the original, but number two, this is a boring film. It really is. There's a lot of slow points, and there's no reason for them. They don't build up, they don't create tension, no atmosphere, nothing. It's almost kind of astounding. This is supposed to be 1982, Antarctica, a storm coming in, and no. Really, no. It fails miserably at creating any kind of tension with its atmosphere. That's a scary location. You're in the middle of nowhere. Means of escape is almost nil. It's part of the point. And they just botch it so awfully. In the original, it felt cold, it felt isolated, you felt alone, and you felt scared because of it. This movie, you feel like you could walk across the ice sheet and find a 7-Eleven, or a working spaceship. Yeah, you saw that little thing that popped out down there? That was the spoiler warning. I'm sorry I didn't give you really any lead up to that. Yeah, the spaceship works. Fuck this movie. I'll tell you right now, if you care about spoilers for this movie, there's no reason. You can see it all coming. At no point does this surprise you. At all. I was counting down. I had countdowns. I had 3, 2, 1, jump scare. 3, 2, 1, jump scare. Awful. Well botched jump scares. Nothing being brought to the table here, folks. You know what? Nothing. Is it as bad as the worst movie I ever saw in cinema, Transformers 2? No. And I'll give you why. I could sleep through this movie. I honestly could. The reprieve in Transformers 2 is that you could shut off your brain. This movie, you could sleep through it. It's boring. And the directing is just uninspired, so is the music. John Carpenter's original score, he scored that movie himself, the original, was really good. It really worked with the film. This is just the most generic, bland orchestra music you've ever heard in your life. This could have been from a car commercial. It really could have. Almost every piece of this score. Nothing. And here's the one that was big for me. Now, usually I'm not one to focus on effects. It's why I don't really like Avatar. This movie, on its own, awful. Really just awful. This is Playhouse crap. This is 90s CGI of the lowest order. I would have expected crap like this coming out of a Silent Hill game. Really, Silent Hill is scarier than this movie. Silent Hill the movie was scarier than this. By a long shot. By miles. They at least knew how to use their ridiculously built creatures. There is an actual scene in this movie, and I'm not kidding, where a woman gets lured into a cupboard in the most shifty-eyed, bad-acted manner possible. At which point the woman behind her turns into a villain from a Final Fantasy game. The most ridiculous eyesore you've ever seen in your life, right there in the open light. No reason to do that. This isn't dark, this isn't gritty, it's not even remotely scary. It was hilarious, because it was followed by this motion. This woman transforms into this terrifying beast, and then proceeds to lunge at our main character with the ease, grace, and terrifying power of a jujube being flicked across a room. Bleh. I am not even joking. Alright, casting. Here's a personal point, and I kind of have to make it early on. I'm Norwegian. By birth. I guess I'm Norwegian by... my passport's Norwegian. I was raised in Norway till I was about 6 years old. I am living in Norway right now. Been here for 2 years. I like this country. I'm very fond of it. A very big point that they're making around here, and they're very proud of it, is that almost the entire main cast of this movie is Norwegian. That is not a reason to get excited, because though the Norwegians are by far the most likable characters, honestly, that's not saying much because there's a lot of characters, and the Americans are crap. Really, the Americans are the worst actors in this. Now, the Norwegians, some of them pull out their game, some don't. It's kind of touch and go, but here's the point. They are not actors in this. They are not stars of this movie. They're not even close. The main prolific Norwegian who makes a point here, Lars, honestly is given maybe, oh, I don't know, 10 minutes of screen time of any relevance. That's it. Seriously. Our main Norwegian hero, 10 minutes, maybe. Our story, of course, has to focus on the Americans so that we can all understand the English. The American anthropologist, which Norway apparently needed, because we don't have anthropologists. Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Most of you will recognize her from being the blue-haired chick in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. In that movie, she did a fairly decent job. To be honest, I thought she was a bit of a letdown compared to what she could have been, but she did a good job. She is so horribly miscast for this movie, it almost is hilarious. We are supposed to buy that this girl is an American anthropologist specializing in Arctic excavation. Apart from the point that Norwegian anthropologists only almost focus in nothing else, yeah, she still looks like that chick from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. She looks like a teenager. At no point at all does she sell herself in this role. She's bland, boring. I mean, it's not bad acting, it's just non-presence. Half the scene she's in, she just doesn't contribute. Nothing at all. The main American hero, I guess you'd call him, yeah, again, spoiler warning, that goes flip about for some strange reason. Yeah, he is the most shameless of the rip-offs I've seen lately. These horror remakes have this habit of having at least one of their characters desperately try and impersonate a character from the first film. For reasons that elude me. Yeah, he is the most shameless of the bunch. If this guy was trying any harder to be MacReady from the first, he would be wearing the hat. Kurt Russell could sue this guy. He imitates his movements, his manner of speech. It's just, and he fails at it. You know what? Yeah, he gets the movements okay, he gets the speech all right. He has none of the stage presence, none of the screen power, none of it. This guy is as bland and as boring as everybody else. The only person who's bringing a little bit of their acting talent to this game is the main bad guy. And yeah, he's the most one-dimensional piece of crap you will see. in any horror movie. He makes fucking Loomis from the Halloween remakes look like the most three-dimensional thought-out character since Vito Corleone. This is dumb. Here's the thing, guys. And I'm gonna get this one right on the table. I have a pet peeve about this crap. Because they were working with an excellent piece of property and they should have left it alone. They really should have. We didn't need a remake of The Thing. We don't need remakes pretty much in general. Some work, some don't. You know what? For this one, they should have left it alone when they found out they didn't have the money or the production power to make a good movie. Aside from that, however, if you're going to do it, and you're going to try and change up the formula, for the love of all that is sacred, holy, and good, at least try and be original. This was a prequel in the same way that I am an African American. Bullshit. I call big ol' steaming piles of bull. No. This was a full-on, full fucking force remake. This was not a prequel. Shot for shot, this was trying to rip off another part of that movie, and doing it horribly so. The logic is all over the place. The Thing, it's kind of like this isn't the Thing. This is the Thing's retarded cousin. It has no plan, no concept of what it's doing. In the first film, in the original, it was intelligent, it was methodical, it had it planned, it was working its way to a goal. And you know what? It made sense. You could follow the logic, you could see what it was doing, and it was beautiful to watch. No. None of that crap here. You look at it, you think maybe it's The Thing, it goes berserk on your ass in the most dumb manner possible. It really does astound me. Yeah, if this is the intelligence of the people at this research station, they should have been left there to die. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but you know what? In movie logic, these people were not they didn't act like human beings, they didn't think like human beings. Nothing was brought to this table that was in any way relatable or believable. I hated this piece of crap. It almost broke me at certain points. The most major of which, fuck, spoiler again, I don't give a crap, was, they were going to airlift one of the members who has gone through a shocking experience into the hospital. Fair enough. Now, I'd like to remind you, this is a prequel. They are not supposed to know about The Thing. At no point are they supposed to have even a clue what's going on here. They just know they dug something out of the ice, and it popped up, got to life, and they killed it. Now, based on menial evidence, Mary Elizabeth Winstead has reason to think maybe something's up. Tries to stop the helicopter. Fair enough. The second, and I'm not kidding, the second they decide to head back down again, this son of a bitch cracks his head open and starts firing out tentacles like he's Venom from Spider-Man 3. It is the worst introduction to a movie monster I have ever seen. I mean, holy sweet Jesus, was that bad. I'm desperately, really desperately trying to think of a movie with this. Creature from the Black Lagoon was a better movie than this. The Creature from Another World was a better movie than this. It at least understood what it was doing, and it had a reason for being what it was. It was working on a low budget. These people had money, and they had money that they pissed away. I don't understand how anyone thought this was going to earn. I don't. The Norwegians got screwed. The Americans they cast were useless. This was an all-around awful effort, really. I mean, no one in this movie that I can think of, except possibly some of the Norwegian cast, had any of their heart and soul in it. And the only reason the Norwegians had their heart and soul in it was because they'd finally made it into a Hollywood movie. And it was such a piss-poor Hollywood movie that if any of them ever make it back, it'll be on some kind of confession show. Oh. Wow. This movie really took it out of me, guys. This hurt me badly. Anyway, Richard the Red, signing out. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll be getting back to you sooner or later with some other film, probably something older. I may do a retroactive review of Drive, because I loved Drive. I'm thinking about maybe going to see Killer Elite. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, I'm kind of curious. If I do, I'll get back to you on it. If you have any movies you're kind of interested in me giving you opinions on, old, new, I don't really give a crap, let me know. Give me a comment, give me a post, give me a text if you know me. I'm up for suggestions. It's been really great talking to you guys. I'm hoping to see you all again soon, or the camera lens which represents you all soon. Thanks a lot. See you later. Peace out.